The Russian scholar Nicholas Notovich, who visited Hemis Gompa, a Buddhist monastery situated in Leh Ladakh, 400 kilometers from Srinagar in the year 1887, was the first to suggest that Christ may have gone to India. The theory of Jesus Christ and Moses being buried in Kashmir, and Kashmiris being descendants of children of Israel, has always aroused a lot of interest among historiographers, researchers and archaeologists all across the world. There is a strong belief among contemporary historians that the land of promise to the children of Israel through Moses might have been some land other than the Holy Land, that is Israel or Palestine. This argument has strong basis, because this land was never exclusively assigned to the children of Israel in as much as it was given to the progeny of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, moreover, because of the fact the children of Israel were driven out from their own land, that they never returned to it from captivity, and the greater portion of the Hebrew nation, having left behind, were already in possession of the Holy Land. And the promise to them that they would possess a certain land could perhaps only be about a land which they had never seen before or possessed. Nilmat Puran, a 6th century socio-geographic work of analytical nature about Kashmir, states that Kashmir is the valley of broad rivers, but far away from the ocean land, regards it as the principal holy country of the world, where all the tirats, or the places of worship, can be found. Quite astonishingly, the Bible states about the land of promise in a very similar fashion. From the good land, where the rivers of honey and milk flow. It is heaven on earth towards the sun rising, and it is the land of hills and valleys that drinks the water of rain of heavens. Elsewhere, Prophet Isaiah has described the land of promise as a place of broad rivers and streams with no coastal line. There is a river in Kashmir about which legend goes that a small line of milk used to flow in the midst, and hence, for this reason, it is known as Doodh Ganga, which literally means stream of milk. In Anantnag district of South Kashmir, near the Well of Babylon, there is an ancient sun temple known as Martand. It has a colonnade of 84 fluted pillars, and the plinth mouldings and the columns depict that the architectural design is Jewish and the style is Greek. This has a strong link with the temple of Prophet Ezekiel. In Kriri Matan, there is a Chah-e-Babul, or a well of Babylon, where a tomb is situated to commemorate Harut and Marut. According to one of the Islamic traditions, Harut and Marut are two angels who offended God and fell from the heaven and were confined to the well of Babylon till the day of judgment. Quite contrary to Islamic belief, Kashmiris visit the tomb for the fulfillment of their wishes. 40 kilometers south of Srinagar is a meadow called Yuz Marg, the meadow of Yuz Asaf, that is, Jesus Christ. Above the town of Srinagar is a temple known as the Throne of Solomon, which dates back to at least 2500 BC, according to Prinsip's Table, which King Gopadatta had restored at about the same time as Christ's advent. The restoration was done by a Persian architect who personally left 4 inscriptions on the side steps of the temple known as the Throne of Solomon. The 3rd and the 4th inscription read, "At this time of Uz Asaph announced his prophetic calling in year 50 and 4, and he is Jesus, prophet of the sons of Israel." German researcher Holger Kirsten, who has done extensive research into Christ's travel after his crucifixion, in his book Jesus Lived in India, claims that there are 21 historical documents to bear witness to the existence of Jesus in Kashmir, where he was known as Uz Asaph and Isa. The most important document that is held critical by almost all the researchers of the subject is Bhavishya Mahapurana. This old manuscript of Sanskrit contains an account of Isa Masih, Jesus the Messiah. It describes Christ's arrival in Kashmir region and his encounter with King Shalivahana, who ruled Kushan area in 39 AD to 50 AD, and that on King Shalivahana's inquiry about this white foreigner, replied that he is known as the Son of God and that he is born of a virgin. It is also believed that the king entertained Christ as a guest for some time. If we conclude that Uz Asaph is another name for Jesus Christ, then we may be informed by Sheikh Sadiq, one of the great Oriental writers, who has written in his book named Ikmaluddin that Uz Asaph, after roaming around in many cities, reached that country which is known as Kashmir. He travelled in it far and wide and settled there, and spent his remaining life there, until death overtook him when he left his earthly body and got elevated towards light. Some historiographers further suggest that Christ may have travelled to south of India also, finally returning to Kashmir to die at the age of approximately 80 years. Christ's tomb lies in Kanyar locality of Srinagar's old town in a building called Rosabel. At the entrance is an inscription explaining that Uz Asaph is buried along with another Muslim saint. Professor Fida Muhammad Hasnain, ex-director Archaeology Kashmir and author of many books including Fifth Gospel, who has studied this tomb, claims that there are carved footprints on the gravestones and when closely examined, carved images of a crucifix and a rosary are visible. The footprints of Uz Asaph have what appears to be scars represented on both feet. If one assumes that they are crucifixion scars, then their position is consistent with scars shown in the Turin shroud, which is left foot nailed over the right. The tomb is called by some as Hazrat Isa Sahib's, or the tomb of Lord Master Jesus. Ancient records acknowledge the existence of the tomb as long ago as 1122 AD. The Grand Mufti, a Muslim cleric, himself has confirmed that Rosabel is indeed the tomb of Uz Asaph. Faizi, the court poet of Akbar, the Mughal ruler, has stated that he whose name is Uz Asaph is no one else but Jesus Christ. The other historical tomb supposed to exist in Kashmir is that of Moses. Kashmir is considered to have the burial site of Moses. There is a grave site that has been maintained for over 2,700 years near the plains of Movu, once called Moab, above Pishnag, once known as Pisgah. This is on Mount Nebu, about 15 kilometers from Bantpur, which was once known as Behatpur. Quite amazingly, this description fits bit by bit the description of the last resting place of Moses as given by the Jewish Bible. Other places in Kashmir are also related to Moses. Near Shadipur, north of Srinagar, the cliffs near the confluence of the Jhelum and Sindh rivers are called Koh-i Musa, which is the cornerstone of Moses, where Moses is said to have rested. Three kilometers south of Bandpur is another Moses resting spot at Ayat Mullah. "60 kilometers southeast of Srinagar, there is a sacred building called Esh Muqam. Esh is derived from Isa and Muqam, which is place of rest or repose. Housed within the shrine of Esh Muqam is a sacred relic called the rod of Prophet Moses, which local legend says belonged to Moses himself. Jesus Christ is also said to have held this very same rod, perhaps to confirm his Mosaic heritage. About 46 kilometers south of Srinagar is a place called Vijbior. This is a spot on the riverbank referred to as Moses' Bath. The stone lion there is said to be about 5,000 years old. Aziz Kashmiri, who has written the book Jesus in Kashmir, is of the strong view that Prophet Aaron, the brother of Prophet Moses, had come to Kashmir with Moses and breathed his last here, and that his tomb is situated at a place called Harvan. Harvan is also a place that is regarded as the ancestral home of Prophet Abraham. Nagaristan-e-Kashmir is an ancient historical document that states that Harvan is the place where Prophet Aaron or Harun, along with his brother Prophet Moses, took rest. When the Buddhist era was at its peak, Kashmir also came under its influence. It is in Kashmir that the first image of Buddha was made. The spread of Buddhism to China and other Central Asian countries is also attributed to Kashmiris. The Kushan king Kanishka is said to have convened the fourth Buddhist council at Harvan near Srinagar in Kashmir in about 78 AD, where Mahayana, the progressive school of thought in Buddhism, was officially recognized as the separate path of salvation. Besides large audiences, 500 Arihantas and 500 Bodhisattvas attended this council. Naga Arjuna was the leading spirit behind the council. Aziz Kashmiri, noted historian of Kashmir, claims that Jesus Christ was also present in this council, and many of his teachings and thoughts were incorporated into the Mahayana sect of Buddhism. It is worth mentioning here that the Buddhist High League was already expecting another Redeemer around this time. Careful examination of the Buddhist iconography reveals that all bodhisattvas stand or sit on the lotus throne, and some show their palms or hands with round marks. The Mahayana time depictions in fact show the marks of crucifixion. This evidence is in fact a very important link with reference to similarities between Christ and the Mahayana period Buddhists. Prophet Noah was one of the great prophets who visited several parts of the world with the help of his divine boat. Kashmir, as per history, was a part of Tethys Sea and later known as Satisar. It was as a result of overflowing of Sita spring presently existing at Sita Haran near Tosa Madan that Kashmir came to be known as Sitasar or Satisar. Prophet Noah's arrival to Kashmir coincides to the same era when Kashyap Rishi helped drainage of water from Satisar, turning Kashmir into a beautiful valley. There is a vast number of people in Kashmir who even to this day live in houseboats. These people are locally known as Hajis, and they are mainly dependent on the produce of lakes and tourism. Because of their long tradition of living in boats, Hajis believe that they are the direct descendants of the Prophet Noah.